Hey, my name is Athena and in this video I'm going to do the 1001 books tag. This tag was originally created by Sandy from Miss Reads a Lot. Do check out her channel if you don't know her. And I was tagged by Jack from Spread Book Joy. Check out her channel as well if you don't know her, because they are both two very nice people making very nice booktube videos. So I have the questions on my laptop behind me here. As I could only remember one question on top of my head, so I'm just gonna grab that and read from that and then turn around. The first bit is 1001 lists. Do you follow any book lists? Now I don't read any books specifically because they're on a list. It has to be a book that interests me. I do like looking into such lists. When I first heard of the 1001 books list, I actually found the book. I think I was on holiday in the UK because my boyfriend is from the UK. We live in the Netherlands together now, but at that time he lived in the UK and I was visiting him, and we were in a bookshop at some point. I think it was Waterstones, and I saw this book and I was like, that looks really interesting, I have to have this. So I do like reading about such lists. And well, many years ago, when I found that book, I also thought about and see how many books of that list I had read and stuff. But I don't want to read books just because they're on a list. I want to only read stuff that I'm actually interested in or that I think I'll like and stuff, and not just because they're on a list. It's kind of similar to Jack's answer from Spread Book Joy. Yeah, but I do like reading about such lists, but I don't follow them in my own reading. I'm very much a movie reader. So. The next question is 1001 books. How many books do you physically own and how many ebooks? I don't know this on top of my head, but what I will try to do is put a screenshot or something from my book collector database after I ask it to separate between physical books and digital books. Because my database has both mixed in together. I own a lot of physical books. I couldn't tell you the exact number. Also, the database isn't quite up to date because I have all the books in the past while, but I haven't added them yet to the database. Since, you know, we're in this pandemic, I like to leave my packages in like quarantine for a little while before I open them. So I haven't, I can't give you an exact number. I will try and put up a screenshot or something of Book Collector where it will show roughly the amount of physical books and then digital books. So for this digital books, wow, this sliding is really, sorry. For digital books, I have books on my Kindle. I also have some books as ebooks that were from Humble Bundle that I bought from Humble Bundle. I also have a bunch of freebies, both on Kindle as also then free ebooks you can download from a person's website that I then put on my Kindle, but they're not registered on Amazon, if that makes sense. So, but I have a lot of physical books. Like I said, I can't give you an exact figure. I know the database has, but it's got 12,000 plus entries. And most of those are physical books, because physical books have my preference. I will say the database does include though, like if I read a free short story online, then I sometimes do add it to my database because I've read it, if that makes sense, and it's free to read. So there's that. But anyway, 1001 books read. Approximately how many books have you read in your lifetime, and do you keep track? I really wish I had kept track of what I read when earlier. I started to do that in halfway through 2012, which is, you know, a while ago, but I really wish I had known, I thought about doing that way before then, because as a kid, I could sometimes read a book per day from the library, but I don't know how much I read and when. As a kid in primary school, what I did on most afternoons after school, and in primary school we didn't have homework back then. I don't know if kids do now, but yeah. Up at least until the last year we didn't have homework, and the last year we got some homework to train us for high school. But anyway, most afternoons I would be in my room and read library books, also some of my own books, but I didn't have lots of books. So I also read library books because I wanted enough to read, and I also reread books, both my own books and from the library. So a book a day doesn't sound weird for then. My parents had to take me to not only my town's library, but also the library in a town nearby, so that I would have enough to read. Yeah, I really don't know how many books I've read in my lifetime. A lot, I'm sure. Yeah, I don't know. I've read some books as a kid, and I only remember specific things about them, and I don't know what they are, and I would love to find them again, but I only remember certain elements or certain bits of the cover, for example, so I can't search for them. So yeah, I know I have reread my Babysitter's Club books many times. Yeah, I don't know how many, and I really wish I'd kept track sooner. I do keep track now. I have a notebook. It's not always the same one, obviously, because when it's full, I start a new one. So this one we're about halfway now. So I have several of these. Back in 2012, though, I discovered Goodreads halfway through 2012, and then I kept track on there for a bit first. And I don't know when I started with these notebooks. I think it was a while later. Possibly because I was going to university and I couldn't always keep. I still don't have internet if I'm not at home, so I didn't have a smartphone. Anyway, 1001 Arabian Nights. Have you read any stories from the Arabian Nights? And sorry for talking with my back turned. I haven't. And this is, if you haven't, would you like to? Maybe. I'm trying to remember if I have. I think I have a book with some of the stories. I do. It's called Tales from the Arabian Nights. And this picture is actually the wrong cover, so I won't show it to you because it's not correct. But I do have a book with some of those tales, and so once upon a time I was interested in reading it, and I haven't yet unhauled that book, so I might still give that a try. I did read a story that was based on the 1001 Nights book. I think it was called Scheherazade by Haruki Murakami. This was a free story. Here is how it's spelled. See, I added it to my database because it was a free story online that you can read. That story borrows from 1001 Arabian Nights, but I haven't actually read the original. I mean, obviously I would need to read a translated version, but I do struggle with books that were written in time periods earlier. So I think I will give it a try someday, but I can't promise when. And wow, this lighting is really been changing while I've been filming my videos, so I'm sorry about that. 1001 flavors. Do you have a favorite food or flavor? Well, that's difficult because there are quite a few things I like, but I should also say that there are also a lot of things I don't like. So as a kid in particular, there were very few things I liked, and through being with my boyfriend, I have tried to eat some new things, and I like more things now, which is great, because as a kid it was quite difficult, and it still can be, because there are many things that I either don't like, or that I don't like the texture of, or that I'm allergic to. So no nuts and no fruit, for example. But anyway, we're talking about favorites, not least favorites. We could be there for a while. Because I don't like, for example, most fish. I don't want to eat anything that has like bones in it, or cartilage. I don't like a lot of vegetables either. So anyway, we're talking about what I do like. My favorite meal is gourmette, but that's kind of a Dutch thing. So that's also like a meal and not like a one thing. I don't know that if I could pick one thing. And then barbecue is my second favorite meal, and pizza is my third favorite meal. but obviously it depends, obviously, what you put on the pizza and stuff. I do really like eating pasta as well. In summer I like having salads. So I make a salad then with lettuce, tomatoes, pasta, and often also cheese and cucumber, and well, it depends what other vegetables we have. But yeah, the favorite flavor is that's very difficult. And there's the sweet stuff, the savory stuff. I go through phases as well. So when I was a kid, the only thing I would drink was grape juice. Now I can't drink anymore because of allergies, but then so for the first, I don't know, 8 years or something of my life, well, not when I was a baby, but I only wanted grape juice. I didn't like anything else. Then the only thing I wanted was orange juice. So for many years I drank only orange juice. Now I can't drink that anymore either. And then when I was a teenager, and I can't remember if I was 16 or 17 or how old I was exactly, I was really ill with stomach flu, and so the only thing my body could bear was water, because that was the only thing I could drink. So then I learned to appreciate water, and since then I only drink water. I can't drink orange juice anymore, unfortunately. I do still like it, but since a few years ago I'm allergic to fruit, and so if I do drink orange juice I feel very, very bad after, so I'm not doing that. So I mostly just drink water now, and then I don't like coffee, I don't like tea, and I on occasion drink chocolate milk. I will say, as a kid, I was lactose intolerant, so I couldn't drink milk. So instead I had to drink some kind of, I don't know if it was soy milk or something similar. I didn't like that as a kid, but well, I had to drink it for the calcium. Now, when I grew up, I am no longer lactose intolerant, so gladly I can just eat. I still don't drink milk. I still don't like it. But it's also a bad association. Like, I know I used to be allergic to it and stuff, but I can eat it when it's in other things, and I can eat cheese and ice cream. But anyway, I am really derailing. It's lunchtime and I'm hungry. So yeah, but I also go through phases as well, what I have for lunch. I go through phases as well between eating chocolate and more savory things. Yeah. Anyway, it was asking about my favorite food or favorite flavor, and that's difficult. I don't think I could pick just one thing, and also what that thing is can change over time. So as a kid, I didn't feel hunger, and then when I was 17, I think, I went on antidepressants because I was depressed, and that awakened my hunger feeling, and through the use of medication, it is now, so when I was a kid I didn't feel getting hungry. What I would notice is that at specific, if I went too long without food, I would get very agitated and upset and angry, and I didn't know why. So as a kid and early teenagers, I've just learned to go by the clock and know, like, okay, it's this time, so now it's time for lunch, for example, as to not start to feel bad. So in my late teens, 17, 18, I start to feel hunger more and more, and now it is like to the point, and I'm not on those antidepressants anymore, but it's like I am not hungry, and then in a short time span I'm very hungry. Food tastes much better when you're hungry, definitely, but yeah, it can be quite quick now, and that is an autism thing, I've heard, so it is what it is. So I can really appreciate food that I really like. I can really enjoy that. And yeah, some things that I still don't really like to eat. And yeah, anyway, I will try to make it something quick in the editing. 1,001 pages. Have you read a book that is over 1,001 pages? Yes, I have, and this is just part one of the question, but I can't remember it all in my head because my short-term memory is rubbish. So I have read quite a few books that are over 1,001 pages long. I will try to insert a clip or a screenshot from Book Collector, which should show you those books, or at least the books that I own that I've read that are over 1,001 pages. Is there one that you would recommend, and is it worth the time? Most of them, but it does depend on who you are and if you like those books. The third bit of that question is, what is the longest book you've read? And that book I've brought, so hang on, because that is the one question I could remember, and I've actually brought a stack. But the longest book that I have read is It by Stephen King. This book is 1,376 pages. And yes, I would recommend this, but only if you're into horror and books like this, because not every book is for everyone. But I read this for the first time when I was 11, and I've read it several times since. I didn't read the English version when I was 11. I read a Dutch version, which I've also brought. I actually read, the first time I read it from the library, but I don't know how many pages that book had. And then I bought myself my own Dutch copy when I was a bit older, which is called Het by Stephen King. Now this book doesn't have as many pages as the English one, but I really like this cover. This is an iconic cover to me. So I've read this copy multiple times, but it's 1,100 something pages, not 1,300. The second longest book I've read is The Stand by Stephen King, which is 1,327 pages. And I also really like this one. I actually read this while I was sick with stomach flu while on holiday in the UK. So this was a nice distraction. And then I brought two examples of other books that I've read that are over 1,001 pages. So The Pillars of the Earth by Ken Follett, as well as its sequel, World Without End, books 1 and 2 in the Kingsbridge series. They are both over 1,001 pages. This one is 1,088 pages, and World Without End is, I think, 1,200 something pages. But I didn't bring that one. I didn't want to. It obviously depends on what edition you have, because the editions I have for the third and fourth book have less pages, but it depends on what edition you have. And then a lot of Peter F. Hamilton's books are also very long. Not all of them, but the Night's Dawn trilogy, all three of those are quite long. So this book is 1,225 pages, and the next two are similar. And then there is his the Commonwealth saga and the Void trilogy. But I have some different editions of some of those, so not all of them are over 1,001 pages. But yeah, I just brought book one as an example. I do feel I haven't read, nowadays, let's say the last couple of years, I don't gravitate as much anymore towards the long books. I used to really like long books. I still do. They are often epic in scale with a lot of characters, and I need quite a bit of brain power to remember and process that. And my energy hasn't been that great for the past 9 years, well, for my whole life really, but so nowadays I tend to gravitate way more towards shorter books. So I don't read long books that often anymore, which is a shame, and there are still some on my TBR that I definitely would like to read sometime, but also I'm intimidated by them. So yeah, because it takes a long time to get through it, and then it feels like I'm not really making progress in my reading, and I can't read too much of such a book in one day because my brain needs time to process what's happened, but I do really enjoy them often. So yeah, I would definitely like to read more longer books, but again, and I will also try to put up a screenshot or a clip of that shows how many books of how many books I have of what page amounts. I'm not describing it very well, but if I put it on the screen, you'll hopefully understand. 1,001 buckets. Do you have a non-bookish bucket list? And what is on What is one thing on the list? I don't have a bucket list, and my battery icon is flashing. I don't have a bucket list. I'm gonna go and change the battery now. The next question is 1001 numbers. Do you have a lucky number? And if so, what's the story behind it? I really like the square root of 2. I realize this is going to sound probably very weird. When I was a kid, I once read a maths book for kids, and in it was the square root of 2, well, the first 30-ish decimals, and it was the longest number or set of numbers that I had ever seen, and so I decided to memorize it. But then in high school, when I told my classmates, they kind of laughed at me and bullied me with it, so I didn't mention it anymore to them. But my family was really impressed because I had memorized the square root of 2 in 31 decimals. So that's a number that is dear to my heart. I realized that was probably not the answer anyone was expecting other than my family, but they don't watch these videos, so... And I could say it here, but I also don't want it to seem like bragging, which I don't like bragging, so yeah. So that's a number that's that I have an emotional connection with. I really like numbers and number patterns, and as a kid I found it easy as well to remember phone numbers and sets of numbers in general. I guess we'll move on. Yeah. I know some people memorize pi, but the square root of 2 I just feel is nice. Controversial opinion. I do like pi and what it can do for us mathematically. I also like eating pie, but that's a whole other subject. 1001 authors. Do you have a favorite author and or genre? I have many favorite authors, and also several favorite genres. So I like reading books for all ages, so adult, young adult, children's books. On occasion I like reading picture books. My favorite genres are probably contemporary fiction, fantasy and science fiction, even if I don't read as much of that last one, but yeah. And favorite authors, I could give you several favorite authors per genre really, so there isn't one. I couldn't pick just one. I would probably struggle picking 10. But yeah, so I really like young adult contemporary fiction, children's contemporary fiction. I really like adult fantasy and children's fantasy. I really like science fiction, mostly adult science fiction. But I also read a lot of other genres. I also really like reading memoirs. That could probably count as a favorite genre really. I really like reading memoirs. 1001 activities. Do you have a favorite outdoor activity? I don't really go outdoors a lot nowadays I never really have, but I like walking. In particular, I like walking with my dog. Walking in general, I like. I don't really like any other outdoor sports. I don't really go outdoors a lot, to be honest. Outside is much more sensory input generally than inside, so it is generally noisier, and the light can be quite bright, and can be the wind or rain or the many sounds of people talking or traffic or birds or trains or whatever, so I can't be outdoors too long. As a kid, I usually also just prefer to sit in my room and read rather than go outside. But it is good to go outside now and then, I know that. We're going to the next question. I don't really know what else to say about this. 1001 book clubs. Sandy is asking if she should start a book club. Definitely do start a book club if you feel like it. And read along and stuff. I'm sure people would be interested. I find it difficult to do read-alongs. I do them on rare occasion, but I'm sure there'd be lots of people who'd be interested in that. So yeah, definitely do it. Take some friends, or this 10+0 friends. I find it really hard to tag people because I'm not really sure who has done it or hasn't done it, and also who would like to do it. So I will name some names, but if you have already done it, I'm sorry. If you don't want to do it, that's also fine. I don't remember on top of my head anything really, because my memory is like a sieve. So I'm just gonna name some of my friends whose booktube videos I watch. And if you want to do it for free, if you don't want to do it for free as well, or maybe you have already done it. So Julie from The Hungry Bookworm, Emily from Novel Novels, Berna from Berna's Bookish Adventures, Linda from Linda's World of Books. If I think of any other people, because my mind's a blank right now, I will add in another couple of times. Thank you very much for watching this video. If you feel like doing this tag, please feel free to do it. I'm sure Sandy would love it if more people did a tag as well. I thought it was a really nice tag, so well done. I don't know if she watches my videos, but yeah, it's a really nice tag. Thank you very much for watching this video, and I hope to see you in my next one. Bye!